Maxton is now 5 weeks old, so let's talk about how my labor went with him. Also, yes, my 5-week-old is the size of a 3-month-old. He's my big guy. So I had booked an induction for Wednesday, May 6th, but on Monday, May 4th, I decided I was done. So I called and they didn't have space for me in the hospital to induce me that day. So I called again Tuesday morning and they were able to take me. So Tuesday, May 5th at 9 a.m., I met my midwife at the hospital. And because I had tested positive for the Group B swab, we started with an antibiotic. So I got my first dose of antibiotic. We waited 2 hours and then we broke my water. And obviously before she broke my water, she checked me and she said I was sitting at a 3. I walked the halls for a bit, I bounced on the ball, and then 2 hours after we broke my water, we did the second dose of antibiotic. Right after we did the second dose of antibiotic, she checked me again and I was still at a 3. So we started the Pitocin. When I tell you that Pitocin contractions are terrible, like literally the most painful thing I've ever experienced. They were in my back, my stomach, my hips, down through my thighs. I think I labored in bed for about 2 hours before she checked me, and not much progress had been made. So we decided to get out of the bed and back on the ball. Every 30 minutes, she's upping the Pitocin. When I got on the ball, the contractions started getting so much worse. Definitely deep breaths, closing my eyes. They were getting pretty painful. So about 45 minutes on the ball, my sister had left the room and my friend had left the room to take like one little break because things seemed to be getting more intense. And the second they left, I was like, I'm tapping out, get me an epidural. I cannot do this naturally anymore. Put me on the list of people to get that epidural, which in my brain, I knew that I was getting really close. And there might not be time for one, but if I get stuck at like a 7, I would like to be on the list for an epidural. So Spencer went to go find my midwife and she came in and asked me if I wanted to get the epidural for sure. And she put me in the bed, hooked me back up to all of the machines and hooked up my IV again. She checked me and I was now at a 7. So again, in my mind, I know that there's not going to be time because I do progress really fast once I get labor going. So she leaves the room to go request the epidural and comes back with laughing gas. So again, I knew, I'm like, there's no time. I did one contraction with the laughing gas and it was terrible. I don't recommend that whatsoever. It made me dizzy. I instantly was like, absolutely not. I do not want that. At that point, my sister and my friend had come back up to the room. I'm immediately like, I need to push this baby out. He's coming now. So Cassidy sets up my camera to record the birth. My sister gets gloves on because she was catching the baby. And then I have Spencer and my mom beside me as I'm pushing. He was not loving this portion, so his heart rate kept dropping, so they kept rotating me side to side. Now pushing with the Pitocin was the worst thing ever. I felt like I was fighting my body to push, which was just terrible. But about 7 minutes later, I hear, turn off the camera, baby's heart rate keeps dropping, and I heard my midwife tell the other midwife to call the OB to come in for backup. And at this point, my mom's like, you need to get this baby out ASAP. I gave it my all, and we got him out. So I pushed for a total of 10 minutes, and little man decided to come out waving to the world with his hand right beside his head. My sister was able to help kind of grab him and bring him up to my chest. He came out crying. So he was on me for about 5 minutes, and then my sister cut his umbilical cord, and my midwife told me that his breathing wasn't the best. It didn't sound like he was getting a full breath of air, so they had to take him over to the corner, and a bunch of nurses came in and a doctor came in to assess his breathing. They were trying to clear his lungs just in the room for about 20 minutes, And then they told me they had to take him to the NICU, and they asked my permission to give him formula because he looked like he was a pretty big baby and he was gonna get hungry pretty quickly. At this point, I'm just kind of out of it. I've never had to have a baby be taken off my chest. I've never not instantly done skin to skin and breastfeeding. That was kind of hard. I just felt like very out of body because I just pushed a baby out and he's gone. He's just in a different room now. For me though, I was feeling fine. No stitches. I just had really bad Pitocin shakes after we had stopped it. About an hour after he was born, I got transferred into a different room for recovery, and I was in that room for about 3.5 hours before I was able to go to the NICU to see him. And seeing your little baby hooked up to all those machines really sucks, and it's really scary, and it's kind of like a full out of body experience, just not being able to just grab your baby whatsoever. He's hooked up to all the machines. He had a feeding tube and he had a CPAP machine on for his breathing. We were in the NICU from that Tuesday, and then we were discharged Friday afternoon. He was just over 21 inches long. He was 8 pounds, 14 ounces, and his head size was 35 centimeters, which is a whole lot bigger than the girls were. And if any of my friends think that I'm forgetting anything, let me know. But that is the birth of baby boy.